What's up, guys? I have the craziest game to show you here. A game where Baskaran Adhiban, one of India's most creative and strongest GMs, starts with the move 1b3 against another top grandmaster, David Navara, and this is the result. In the game, Navara played the move e5, taking the space. It's worth pointing out that Black has other moves like playing d5, but then White can get a very safe setup with knight to f3, and usually it's going to either play moves like e3 and castle this way, or you get some creative souls who like to do a double fianchetto with g3 and bishop g2 in castles. Obviously there are a few different setups. Sometimes you'll even see some crazy guys who go e3 and transpose back to a bird's opening with f4 and knight to f3. So there's obviously a lot of different ways that you can play b3 if they don't play e5. But the big question ultimately has to be, well, what if they just put the pawns in the center? And that's what happened in the game, where after the move knight to c6, Adhiban played the slightly unusual move c4, transitioning back into a Sicilian defense where he's played the early queenside fianchetto. After the move knight to f6, trying to prepare d5 and play in the same way that we saw in the How to Beat 1 c4 video. Well, Adhiban says, I'm not going to let you get that in so easy, Navara. He played the move knight to f3, hitting that pawn so that if Black does play a move like d6 to defend it, then we can also hit him back with d4 and even go for the attack on the pawn. Because once you open out that long diagonal, that bishop becomes a real powerhouse and a true beast. Quite fitting given that Adhiban's nickname is the Beast in chess. And if you want to be a beast in chess too, make sure to smash that like button for this video. Now after knight to f3, the move e4 is what Navara played, taking that space, and after knight d4 we see that knight is really well placed in the center. Now some of you might remember a game played between Boris Larsen and Boris Spassky, where in such a position Spassky played the move bishop to c5 that was also played by Navara. In that game after knight c6, dc6, well, in the end, basically, Larsen tried some weird stuff like knight c3, f4, and well, I think a lot of you guys know the game where Spassky just charged at h-pawn, doing it before it was made cool by AlphaZero, winning an absolute brilliancy. But that's for the How to Beat b3 video, not the How to Play b3 video. In the game, Adhiban found a better way to play it with the move knight to f5, saying, well, okay, this might not be crazy house, but still I want to pile up on that g7 pawn. And now after the move castles and e3, well, the move d5 was a very good move by Navara, because if you play a more passive move like d6, well, I'm just going to go knight g3 and just pile up on that pawn with knight c3, queen c2, or even maybe queen b1. And Black's going to have a very hard time because he's overextended himself with the e-pawn move. So d5 was a very good move by Navara, but then he fell into what I call the pre-move mistake. Where after cd5, I mean, it's so easy in a game of chess to go, oh yeah, I'm just going to pre-move when it's blitz and try to save some time on the clock. But unfortunately, the only time that Black saved was in losing in 9 moves instead of in 60 moves, or however long it might have taken if he had lost the game. In this position, what would you play if you were Black? I think you won't have too much trouble improving on Navara's play, but if you want to really be sure of how being able to beat these sort of players, then make sure to subscribe to stay up to date with more of my chess videos, and also to comment below to see whether you were able to find the best move. Okay, well done guys if you came up with the move of knight to b4. Knight b4 I think is better than bishop takes f5, because if you take, even though you're not losing on the spot, you kind of have these ice doubled pawns, which are not really ideal, and I think that with knight a3, well, I can sort of then pile the pressure on c6, castle the king, and somehow we can sort of just play around this e-pawn, which is actually not really constricting the white pieces all that much in this structure. And actually it's made our bishop a real powerhouse on b2, which is one reason why white's a bit better here. So the move knight b4 was indicated, and well, in that case, after knight g3, Black can play the move knight fd5, where he's going to sack the pawn, because if you do play knight e4, then Black has a very beautiful bishop f5, where he just sacrifices everything with knight c5, knight c2, and well, now it's Black who is playing the brilliancy after king e2, and you even have something like rook e8, even though you're down a piece. Black's ready to bring the knight in the attack, he's ready to bring the queen into the attack, and meanwhile, like, you've got the king playing a bong card. That's not really a high-quality chess by white. So, instead, white wouldn't really be able to take that pawn. He should instead just play a3. And okay, after knight d3, takes, certainly the position. Offers chances for both sides after castles and knight c3. Black has the bishop pair and a good amount of space, but white has a nice central majority. They can kind of play around the pawn, so it's sort of arguable whether that d3 pawn is that much of a strength. But certainly the bishop should put Black in reasonable stead here. But instead, Navara played knight d5, and this is where you have the opportunity to find forced mate. I mean, how many top GM games are there that you know of where where there has been a forced checkmate available on move 9. Not very many, I would say, but that's what Adhiban managed with his next move. He played not the move knight takes g7. He remembered Laska's saying of when you see a good move, look for a better one. And inspired by Laska, he played the move queen to g4, going bam on this g7 square. And that truly was the kill shot because black actually resigned. I mean, how often do you see that? Like move 9, a GM has to resign because they're getting mated. Well, there's no way to deal with the threat because of queen g7 mate, because if you play queen f6, well, white just says thank you and takes it. If black plays some other move like g6, well, then there's going to be knight h6 and you still get mated. So indeed, the only way to avoid getting checkmate as black is to do what Navara did and resign. I like, by the way, that even a move like bishop d4 doesn't really help. Because after bishop takes, you're still threatening the mate on g7. You know, they can only take one of the bishop on a knight at a time. You know, this isn't 4-player chess where your buddy can also take the opponent's pieces for you. So anyway, that's how Adhiban smashed David Navara. Do make sure to smash that like button as well if you learned something new or just enjoyed the video. And as always, do make sure to keep up to date with more of our chess videos as suggested here. So in any case, good luck with playing 1b3 in your own games. As you can see, it gives your opponent a lot of opportunities to go wrong. It's a very tricky system where definitely you can ask some tough questions and make your opponent suffer a bit, because it's not like they can just bash out theory because, well, we avoided it with 1b3. In any case, good luck with this move, and I will see you in the next video for how to play.